Atletico Madrid are on the verge of a major double swoop. Maybe one of the biggest transfers that we've seen in this summer transfer window. All signed, sealed and delivered. Maybe just needs the here we go. But Conor Gallagher is going to Madrid. It feels like Agent Trippier has done his due diligence and Conor Gallagher is trading Cobham for Atletico Madrid. And a move that I think did surprise quite a lot of people because there were some Premier League clubs interested. It was probably kind of clear that, especially if you watch my videos, that Chelsea really did need to sell Conor Gallagher to get that positive PSR movement because of the 40 goalkeepers that they want to sign in this window. And this is a move that Atletico Madrid are firmly going to come out as winners. But not only that, World Cup winner, trophy magnet, Spider-Man himself, Julian Alvarez, is set to leave Man City and join Atletico Madrid. And last year we did think that Atletico Madrid could go on to get another La Liga title under El Cholo Simeone. And although they started like a house on fire, it really did fade away throughout the season. But with the level of recruitment they're doing this summer, it might not go that way this time. Atleti are sincere champions to go and win La Liga this year from where I'm sitting. In the video today, we're going to look at the impact that both of these signings have because Atletico Madrid have actually been quite busy already in the transfer window and they've got quite a bloated squad and it will maybe surprise you when you see it. But one of the things I love about Atletico Madrid is obviously not their attractive style of play on the pitch or anything like that, but I love the fact that Cholo Simeone is like the godfather there. He's like the old school manager that will not be sacked, has a complete backing of the board, the club, the fans, and everything else really in between. And he's been allowed to go and try and get that Champions League trophy, go repeatedly after La Ligas, try and chase down some Copa del Rey's in an effort to, I think we would all agree Atletico Madrid are firmly the third powerhouse in the league. But, it wasn't that 10, 11 years ago when Simeone took over. Certainly, they're firmly there now. But now it's about lifting that level so that every year it is a question of Barca, Real or Atleti who is going to be in amongst it. Atleti are kind of there, but they're not quite there yet. But I do think Spider-Man, I do think Conor Gallagher is going to lift them into that conversation at any point in the video today. If you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this as we cover all the headline making transfers throughout the summer window as we prepare for what could be the biggest season of European football ever. And get into the comment section in this one and let me know, La Liga champions Atleti, is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Do they have the minerals? Do they have the quality? And will they go the distance this year? And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, Real Madrid have had a very clear identity on the sort of profiles, the sort of transfers they're going to do. It's not quite Galacticos as we know it, but it's like Wonder Kid Galacticos, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Vinny, Bellingham, Mbappe, Endrick, all of these kind of star up-and-coming names, the next generation of Galacticos. They've been getting in as soon as they're identified and get them playing with league legends and, really football legends, the likes of Toni Kroos and Modric, Benzema, to name a few. And Barca always have La Masia feeding them world-class talent, absolutely relentlessly, even though they're almost as funny as Chelsea in the transfer market for the amount of players they just seem to accumulate and then instantly realise they can't afford and they don't really want. But what Atletico Madrid have been trying to do throughout all this noise is do something kind of a hybrid of both. They're trying to nurture some players through. Some of them are from their academy, some they're getting maybe from the continent, and also try and bring in some top-level, world-class players that will make the difference to their best 11 in the most important matches that they're going to face in the league and in Europe. And when we look at the Atletico Madrid squad, and if you watched them last year, there's been a wee bit of a development in the system. Now, it's still 3-5-2 as we kind of know it, but what we've seen a lot more last year was the left and the right wing-back, full-backs or whatever, are much more like attacking players, actual attacking wingers, or like fullbacks that are told like, hey, just you go on and attack. And there's a lot more onus and a lot more focus on the back three doing their 1v1 defending, with Koke and Rodrigo de Paul maybe not being too far in front of them as a bit of a shield, to then allow the rest of the players to go on and attack and, find pockets of space, try and counter-attack, and try and hit some sort of big target man. Last year, they were rotating between Morata, who's now at AC Milan, and Memphis Depay, who's now a free agent. And they went out and failed on Dovbike and brought in Alexander Sorloth. Samu's come back in from a loan, and maybe between the likes of him, Felix, Lamar, maybe even Rodrigo Riquelme, one or two outgoings might happen to kind of ease a bit of the pressure that there is on the numbers here. But when you look at the midfield and you look at the balance that Atletico Madrid have been trying to strike, with Koke being the deep kind of playmaker, He's not really a defensive midfielder, and that has been something that's somewhat held them back. I think that's why Axel Witsel is getting a good shift here, because, you know, in a lot of games where they've got high possession, he can kind of do that job in a roundabout way if the defence. New signing Lenormand and, you know, returning from injury Reinildo can be, you know, as a pair, as a partnership that can kind of work. They're kind of getting away with it to keep the club legend in the building. And Rodrigo de Paul is the box-to-box, all-action Argentinian midfielder that Simeone wants in his team, sees himself as in a roundabout way, I think. And they've been needing this orbital midfielder, this guy that can really float around no matter where the play is, pick up the pockets of space, and have the energy to go on and support the strikers as well if the opposition. Because in La Liga, if you watch it, when Atletico Madrid, especially at home, play a lot of teams, they do like sit off them. They do give them a lot of the pitch. And they've got that drive, they've got that direct nature about them that they can get in with the forward line, they can chip in with a couple of goals and assists or whatever. Llorente has tried to be that guy, but he's found himself more in the right wing. Vermeeren, who is seen as a bit of a ball winner, a defensive mid, since he's come in from Antwerp, he's actually filled in this role a little bit. And I think a lot of people expect Barrios maybe would come into this role, but I think he's more of a Koke replacement, which means really if you do zoom out and look at it, Atletico Madrid have had a real major need for this missing piece of the midfield balance so that they can take this team to the next level. Because when you're playing with like a back three of 1v1 defender, like gladiator, titan types, the midfield really needs to be on song with what its job is, no matter what it is. You could have these three guys playing a number of different tactical, philosophical type of strategies or whatever, but whatever it is, they have to be best in class, and they have to be, especially if we're talking about top end of La Liga, very good footballers in those crunch decisions where they can make the difference. And Conor Gallagher has shown for England and for Chelsea and even for Crystal Palace, formerly of that he can be that guy. And he works very well at being this kind of freelance midfielder that Koke and De Paul aren't going to vary. They're not going to venture off too much from their roles and their responsibilities. When you've got your target man forward up here, which we'll talk about forwards in a second, but Alvarez, you've then got the width being held by the fullbacks, and you've got your playmaking forward, and Griezmann, who's going to be busy pressing the defence, drop deep to get on the ball and interlock. He needs someone to come and play with him. And yeah, RDP can kind of do that, but RDP's not going to be breaking his neck and going further and beyond, and that is Conor Gallagher, you know. So I think this is a huge coup for Atletico Madrid that makes a huge difference to their midfield in La Liga and in the Champions League as well, because although I'm a huge fan of Riquelme, Barrios, Vermeeren, this next generation that they do have kind of bubbling under from their academy and from Bayern Vermeeren and from Belgium, they're not ready yet. They're definitely not trusted yet by the manager to take over the roles and responsibilities. And although Koke is definitely at the firm end of his career, De Paul's in his prime, Gallagher's approaching prime, and that's what Atletico Madrid need, is players in their pomp, in their prime, to be in the most important positions on the pitch, similar to Griezmann and one or two others. But as we look up front, like I mentioned already, Lamar, Samu and Felix might all be sold, and that'll help Atletico Madrid bring some money in, because although they've just signed Sorloth, and I know they're replacing Morata and Depay, Correa's still on the books, he's not going. It feels like very quickly Sorloth is going to be playing second fiddle to Julian Alvarez, because for the amount of money that this transfer is happening for, he's also Argentinian, and Atletico Madrid and Simeone love Argentinian internationals, and Julian Alvarez is the stereotypical apex Atletico Madrid Simeone striker. He's hard-working, he's quite ambidextrous, he'll do all the hard work and not blink, not complain, not even break a sweat for the most part. And playing him with Griezmann, I think we could see the next Forlan, the next Falcao, the next Atletico Madrid striker that is like one of the best strikers in the world all of a sudden, a guy that can break 25, 30 goals in a La Liga season potentially. And if that's the case for Alvarez, Sorloth isn't going to start too often because Griezmann is going to also play every game. And I feel kind of bad for Big Alexander Sorloth in this one, to be honest with you. But Deigo Costa was a great Atletico Madrid striker, don't get me wrong. Felix was the false prophet, the false prodigy as it was. And Atletico Madrid, with Depay, with Morata, they've been really struggling to replace the likes of Falcao, Forlan, Deigo Costa. Suarez was obviously there last time they won the league. They had David Villa, of course, for a short while before he ended his career. And that's the level of killer striker that they have really been missing. And it feels that these two moves very quickly changed the whole complexion of this Atletico Madrid team. That, yeah, maybe Lino and, maybe the wide players aren't the best in class that they could wish for. And I'm sure if we looked at the defence man for man, two young players coming through here, Dave Azpilicueta still kicking about, that maybe you could see there's some room for upgrades in these areas here. But you know and you trust in Simeone that if this is a defence he's going to be laying out, that they are going to put their head in where it hurts. They're going to make those professional fouls. They're going to use the dark arts. And defensively, Atletico Madrid are always quite fine. They did concede a wee bit more over the last 2 seasons than maybe they would have liked since previously winning the league. But I do think that with Lenormand coming in here and some of the younger players, and if Ronaldo can keep fit, Axel Witsel signed on for another year, like they can probably improve their defensive record. But what they really do need to improve on is killing teams off, is winning matches. And the difference that Conor Gallagher and Alvarez make to this is incredibly massive. And like I said at the tip off of the video, this could be one of the most significant transfer moves that we see in this window, because there might be a little domino effect. We might see a couple of guys leave Atletico Madrid, but equally on top of that, like Real Madrid have got more impressive, of course, bringing Mbappe in. They had Bellingham last year. Barcelona are really busy in this window as well. And let's see how the moves all do shake out for them. We're seeing the emergence of Lamine Yamal as well. But really, Atletico Madrid cannot be written off, because man for man, game by game, it's very hard to imagine that they're going to drop very many points. And you can begin to imagine that they get into some sort of 3-scoring way, because against the majority of teams that they are going to play against, that are going to let them get high up the pitch, are going to bank in and, you know, play deep football, be defensive, proper La Liga stuff, then it's going to allow, like you can see it happening already, can't you? RDP deep, picking up spaces, pinging balls, Llorente invading the box, Lino doing the same, and then between the likes of Spider-Man and Griezmann here, just being an absolute handful for the defence, and then you've got the likes of Conor Gallagher filling in the blanks or coming in late, crashing into the box and stuff. It honestly, like if you were to build this team on paper, you're not too far away now from having the perfect profiles, the perfect actual players you could find in world football nowadays, actually doing the job you would hope and expect. Maybe the wide areas could be upgraded, maybe the centre-backs ever so slightly, but like, yeah, for me, Atletico Madrid are a proper contender now. There's a few outgoings to be done, as I've mentioned a few times, and it will be really interesting to see who the remaining incomings are going to be, but Atletico Madrid are definitely going to be a team to watch this year. On screen now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Do not forget to get into the comments section and let me know how far in La Liga, how high in La Liga can Atletico Madrid climb this year. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.